Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily Dose of English. I'm Tom, your English teacher, and I'm so happy you're here today. How are you feeling? Ready to learn something super useful? Today we're going to talk about one of the most important skills in English. How to order food at a restaurant. Think about it. Everyone needs to eat, right? So if you travel to an English-speaking country, or if you meet English speakers in your own country, you'll probably go to a restaurant at some point. But many students tell me, Tom, I get so nervous when I need to order food in English. What if I say something wrong? What if the waiter doesn't understand me? Well, my friend, after today's lesson, you won't feel nervous anymore. We're going to learn all the vocabulary, phrases, and expressions you need. We'll practice together with shadowing. That means you'll repeat after me to improve your pronunciation and fluency. We'll also learn some cultural tips about eating out in English-speaking countries. And by the end, you'll be ready to walk into any restaurant and order like a pro. Are you hungry? Because we're about to feast on some delicious English. Let's get started. Main lesson. Part 1. Essential restaurant vocabulary. First, let's learn the most important words you'll hear in a restaurant. I'll say each word twice, then you repeat after me. Ready? Menu. Menu. Now you repeat. The menu is the list of food and drinks. In some restaurants, it's a big book. In others, it's just one page. Sometimes it's even written on a board on the wall. Waiter. Waiter. Now you repeat. The waiter is the man who serves you. For a woman, we say waitress. 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 Now you repeat. But here's a tip. Nowadays, many people just say server for both men and women. Server. Server. Now you repeat. Table. Table. Now you repeat. This is where you sit. When you arrive at a restaurant, you might hear table for two. Table for two. Now you repeat. Appetizer. Appetizer. Now you repeat. This is the small dish you eat before your main meal. In British English, we often say starter instead. Starter. Starter. Now you repeat. Main course. Main course. Now you repeat. This is your big meal, the most important dish. Sometimes people just say main. Dessert. Dessert. Now you repeat. The sweet treat at the end. Be careful with pronunciation. It's dessert, not desert. A desert is a hot, sandy place. Dessert has 2 S's because you always want seconds. Bill, bill. Now you repeat. This is the paper that shows how much you need to pay. In American English, they often say check instead. Check, check, now you repeat. Tip, tip. Now you repeat. This is extra money you give to your server for good service. In America, people usually tip 15 to 20%. In some countries, tipping isn't common, so it's good to check local customs. Main lesson. Part 2. Key phrases for ordering. Now let's learn the most important phrases for ordering food. These are the sentences you'll actually use in a restaurant. Listen carefully. I'd like. Now you repeat. This is the most polite way to order. For example, I'd like the chicken, please. I'd like the chicken, please. I'd like the chicken, please. Now you repeat, can I have? Can I have? Now you repeat. This is another polite way to order. Can I have a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? Now you repeat, I'll have. I'll have. Now you repeat. This is more direct but still polite. I'll have the fish. I'll have the fish. I'll have the fish. Now you repeat. Now, what if you need more time? Here's a useful phrase. Could I have a few more minutes? Let me break this down. Could I have? Could I have? Now you repeat. A few more minutes? A few more minutes? Now you repeat. Now the whole sentence, could I have a few more minutes? Could I have a few more minutes? Now you repeat. What if you have questions about the menu? Try these. What do you recommend? What do you recommend? What do you recommend? Now you repeat. What's popular here? What's popular here? What's popular here? Now you repeat. Is this dish spicy? Is this dish spicy? Is this dish spicy? Now you repeat. Does this contain nuts? Does this contain nuts? Does this contain nuts? Now you repeat. This is very important if you have allergies. Main lesson. Part 3. Understanding the server. Now let's learn what the server might say to you. This is super important because you need to understand their questions. When you enter, they might say, how many? How many? How many? Now you repeat. This means how many people. You can answer, 2 please. 2 please. 2 please. Now you repeat. Do you have a reservation? Let's break this down. Do you have? Now you repeat. A reservation? A reservation? Now you repeat. Full sentence. Do you have a reservation? Do you have a reservation? Now you repeat. A reservation means you booked a table before coming. You can answer, yes, under the name Tom. Yes, under the name Tom. Yes, under the name Tom. Now you repeat. Or, no we don't. No we don't. No we don't. Now you repeat. After you sit down, the server might say, can I get you something to drink? Let's practice this slowly. Can I get you? Can I get you? Now you repeat. Something to drink? Something to drink? Now you repeat. Full sentence. Can I get you something to drink? Can I get you something to drink? Now you repeat. Are you ready to order? Are you ready to order? Are you ready to order? Now you repeat. If you're not ready, say, not yet, please. Not yet, please. Not yet, please. Now you repeat. Would you like to hear today's specials? This is a longer one. Let me break it down. Would you like? Now you repeat. To hear today's specials. To hear today's specials. Now you repeat. Full sentence. Would you like to hear today's specials? Would you like to hear today's specials? Now you repeat. Specials are dishes that aren't on the regular menu. They're only available today. Practice section. Building your order. Let's practice building a complete order step by step. I'll be the server and you'll be the customer. Ready? Server. Good evening. Are you ready to order? You say, yes, I'd like to start with the soup. Yes, I'd like to start with the soup. Yes, I'd like to start with the soup. Now you repeat. Server. Excellent choice. And for your main course? You say, I'll have the grilled salmon, please. I'll have the grilled salmon, please. I'll have the grilled salmon, please. Now you repeat. Server. How would you like that cooked? For fish or meat, they might ask how you want it cooked. For salmon, you might say, medium, please. Medium, please. Medium, please. Now you repeat. Server. Any sides with that? Sides are extra dishes like vegetables or potatoes. You say, what sides do you have? What sides do you have? What sides do you have? Now you repeat. Server. We have rice, mashed potatoes, or steamed vegetables. You say, I'll take the vegetables. I'll take the vegetables. I'll take the vegetables. Now you repeat. Now let's practice some special requests. These are very useful. Could I have the dressing on the side? Let me break this down. Could I have... Now you repeat. The dressing on the side. The dressing on the side. Now you repeat. Full sentence. Could I have the dressing on the side? Could I have the dressing on the side? Now you repeat. This means you want the sauce in a separate dish, not on your salad. Is it possible to get this without onions? This is a bit long. Let's break it down. Is it possible? Is it possible? Now you repeat. To get this. Now you repeat. Without onions? Without onions? Now you repeat. Full sentence. Is it possible to get this without onions? Is it possible to get this without onions? Now you repeat. Can I substitute the fries for salad? Let's practice. Can I substitute? Now you repeat. The fries for salad. The fries for salad. Now you repeat. Full sentence. Can I substitute the fries for salad? Can I substitute the fries for salad? Now you repeat. This means you want to change one thing for another. Storytelling. A complete restaurant conversation. Now let's put everything together in a real conversation. I'll tell you a story about going to a restaurant, and we'll practice the dialogue together. This happened to my student Maria when she visited New York for the first time. Maria walks into a nice Italian restaurant. She's nervous but remembers our lessons. Host. Good evening. How many? Maria. 2 people, please. 2 people, please. 2 people, please. Now you repeat. Host. Right this way. Here's your table. Maria. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now you repeat. The server arrives with menus. Server. Hi, folks. My name's Jake. I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you with something to drink? Maria. I'd like water, please. I'd like water, please. I'd like water, please. Now you repeat. Her friend says, I'll have a Coke. I'll have a Coke. I'll have a Coke. Now you repeat. Server, I'll be right back with those. Take your time with the menu. Maria looks at the menu. There are so many choices. She sees words she doesn't know, but she remembers what we practiced. Server returns. Here are your drinks. Have you decided? Maria, could I have a few more minutes? Could I have a few more minutes? Could I have a few more minutes? Now you repeat. Server, of course. Would you like to hear today's specials? Maria, yes, please. Yes, please, yes, please. Now you repeat. The server explains the specials. Maria doesn't understand everything, but she hears chicken and pasta, words she knows. Server, I'll give you a few more minutes. Maria whispers to her friend, what's marinara? Her friend explains it's a tomato sauce. Ah, now she understands better. Server returns. Ready to order? Maria, yes. I have a question first. Yes, I have a question first. Yes, I have a question first. Now you repeat. Server, sure, what's up? Maria, is the chicken parmigiana very big? Is the chicken parmigiana very big? Is the chicken parmigiana very big? Now you repeat. Server, oh yes, it's huge. You might want to share or take some home. Maria, okay, I'll have the pasta marinara instead. Okay, I'll have the pasta marinara instead. Okay, I'll have the pasta marinara instead. Now you repeat. Server, good choice. Would you like to add a salad? Maria, no thank you. No thank you. No thank you. Now you repeat. The food arrives and it's delicious. After eating, the server comes back. Server, how was everything? Maria, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Now you repeat. Server, any room for dessert? Maria, I'm too full. I'm too full. I'm too full. Now you repeat. Server, no problem. I'll bring the check. Maria, actually, could we have the check split? Let's practice this useful phrase. Actually, could we have? Now you repeat. The check split. The check split. Now you repeat. Full sentence. Actually, could we have the check split? Actually, could we have the check split? Now you repeat. This means each person pays for their own food. Server, sure thing. Practice section. Common problems and solutions. Now let's talk about common problems you might face in a restaurant and how to handle them. Don't worry, these things happen to everyone, even native speakers. Problem 1. Your food is cold. You can politely say, excuse me, this is cold. Excuse me, this is cold. Excuse me, this is cold. Now you repeat. Or more politely, I'm sorry, but this seems to be cold. Let's break it down. I'm sorry, but. Now you repeat. This seems to be cold. This seems to be cold. Now you repeat. Full sentence. I'm sorry, but this seems to be cold. I'm sorry, but this seems to be cold. Now you repeat. Problem 2. You got the wrong order. Say, excuse me, I ordered the fish. Excuse me, I ordered the fish. Excuse me, I ordered the fish. Now you repeat. Or, this isn't what I ordered. This isn't what I ordered. This isn't what I ordered. Now you repeat. Problem 3. You're waiting too long. You can ask, excuse me, how much longer for our food? Let's practice. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now you repeat. How much longer? How much longer? Now you repeat. For our food? For our food? Now you repeat. Full sentence. Excuse me, how much longer for our food? Excuse me, how much longer for our food? Now you repeat. Problem 4. You need something. Could we get some more napkins? Could we get some more napkins? Could we get some more napkins? Now you repeat. May I have some ketchup? May I have some ketchup? May I have some ketchup? Now you repeat. Could you bring some salt? Could you bring some salt? Could you bring some salt? Now you repeat. Cultural tips and etiquette. Let me share some important cultural tips about eating out in English-speaking countries. These might be different from your country. In America, tipping is very important. The servers often earn low wages and depend on tips. You should tip 15 to 20% of your bill. If the service was bad, you still tip 10%. Only tip nothing if the service was truly terrible. In Britain, tipping is more relaxed. 10% is normal for good service. In pubs, you don't usually tip at all. In Australia and New Zealand, tipping isn't expected, but it's nice to round up the bill or leave a small tip for great service. Let's practice some tipping phrases. Keep the change. Keep the change. Keep the change. Now you repeat. This means the extra money is their tip. The service was excellent. The service was excellent. The service was excellent. Now you repeat. In America, servers will check on you often. They might ask, how's everything? Many times. This is normal. Just smile and say, great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Now you repeat. In some countries, it's rude to call the waiter by shouting or waving. Instead, try to make eye contact and raise your hand slightly. If that doesn't work, a polite, excuse me, when they pass by is perfect. More useful restaurant vocabulary. Let's learn some more specific vocabulary that will make you sound really natural. On the rocks, this means with ice. Whiskey on the rocks. Whiskey on the rocks. Whiskey on the rocks. Now you repeat. Neat. This means without ice. Whiskey neat. Whiskey neat. Whiskey neat. Now you repeat. Well done. Meat cooked all the way through. Well done. Well done. Now you repeat. Medium. Meat cooked in the middle. Medium. Medium. Now you repeat. Rare. Meat cooked just a little. Rare. Rare. Now you repeat. Doggy bag or to-go box, a container for leftover food. In America, portions are often huge, so it's normal to take food home. Could I get a box for this? Could I get a box for this? Could I get a box for this? Now you repeat. Happy hour, a time when drinks are cheaper, usually 4 to 7 p.m. Happy hour, happy hour. Now you repeat. All you can eat. You pay one price and eat as much as you want. All you can eat, all you can eat. Now you repeat. Practice dialogue. Fast food. Now let's practice ordering at a fast food restaurant. This is different from a sit-down restaurant. It's faster and more casual. You walk up to the counter. Cashier. Hi, welcome to Burger Palace. What can I get for you? You. I'd like a cheeseburger meal. I'd like a cheeseburger meal. I'd like a cheeseburger meal. Now you repeat. Cashier. What size? You. Medium, please. Medium, please. Medium, please. Now you repeat. Cashier. What would you like to drink? You. Coke, please. Coke, please. Coke, please. Now you repeat. Cashier. For here or to go? This means, will you eat here or take it away? You answer what? To go, to go, to go. Now you repeat. Or sub. For here, for here, for here. Now you repeat. Cashier. Anything else? You. No, that's all. No, that's all. No, that's all. Now you repeat. Cashier. That'll be $8.50. You pay and wait for your order. They call your number or name when it's ready. Advanced phrases for confident speakers. Once you master the basics, try these more advanced phrases to sound really natural. I'm torn between the pasta and the pizza. This means you can't decide. Let's practice. I'm torn between. Now you repeat. The pasta and the pizza. The pasta and the pizza. Now you repeat. Full sentence. I'm torn between the pasta and the pizza. I'm torn between the pasta and the pizza. Now you repeat. Everything looks so good. Everything looks so good. Everything looks so good. Now you repeat. Say this when you are having trouble choosing. I'll go with the salmon. This is a casual way to order. I'll go with the salmon. I'll go with the salmon. Now you repeat. Could you give me a minute? Could you give me a minute? Could you give me a minute? Now you repeat. This is more casual than could I have a few more minutes? I'm not a big fan of spicy food. This is a polite way to say you don't like something. Let's break it down. I'm not a big fan of. Now you repeat. Spicy food. Spicy food. Now you repeat. Full sentence. I'm not a big fan of spicy food. I'm not a big fan of spicy food. Now you repeat. Making special dietary requests. Many people have special dietary needs. Here's how to communicate them clearly. I'm vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. Now you repeat. I'm vegan. I'm vegan. I'm vegan. Now you repeat. This means no animal products at all. I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm allergic to peanuts. Now you repeat. This is very important for your safety. I can't eat gluten. I can't eat gluten. I can't eat gluten. Now you repeat. Is this dairy-free? Is this dairy-free? Is this dairy-free? Now you repeat. Does this have any shellfish? Does this have any shellfish? Does this have any shellfish? Now you repeat. Always tell your server about allergies. They want you to be safe and enjoy your meal. Complaining politely. Sometimes things go wrong. Here's how to complain politely and get the problem fixed. Start with, I'm sorry, but. Now you repeat. This shows you're not trying to be difficult. I'm sorry, but this isn't what I ordered. Full sentence practice. I'm sorry, but this isn't what I ordered. I'm sorry, but this isn't what I ordered. Now you repeat. I hate to complain, but. Now you repeat. This shows you don't complain often. There seems to be a problem with my meal. Let's practice. There seems to be. Now you repeat. A problem with my meal. A problem with my meal. Now you repeat. Full sentence. There seems to be a problem with my meal. There seems to be a problem with my meal. Now you repeat. Remember, most restaurants want you to be happy. If there's a problem, they'll usually fix it quickly. Paying the bill. Let's practice the end of your meal. Paying the bill. This can be confusing, so let's go through it step by step. First, you need to get the bill. Could we have the check, please? Could we have the check, please? Could we have the check, please? Now you repeat. Or in British English, could we have the bill, please? Could we have the bill, please? Could we have the bill, please? Now you repeat. The server brings the bill. In America, they might leave it on the table and say, no rush, no rush, no rush. Now you repeat. This means take your time. If you're paying by card, do you take credit cards? Do you take credit cards? Do you take credit cards? Now you repeat. These days, most places do. They might bring a card machine to your table, or you might need to go to the cashier. If you're splitting the bill with friends, can we split this 3 ways? Can we split this 3 ways? Can we split this 3 ways? Now you repeat. Or, we're paying separately. We're paying separately. We're paying separately. Now you repeat. If one person is paying for everyone, I'll get this. I'll get this. I'll get this. Now you repeat. Or, this is on me. This is on me. This is on me. Now you repeat. This means I'm paying. If someone offers to pay for you, you can accept. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now you repeat. Or politely refuse. That's very kind, but I'll get my own. Let's practice. That's very kind. That's very kind. Now you repeat. But I'll get my own. But I'll get my own. Now you repeat. Full sentence. That's very kind, but I'll get my own. That's very kind, but I'll get my own. Now you repeat. Final practice story. Let me tell you about my friend James, who used everything we learned today. James is from Japan, and he was visiting London for work. On his last night, his British colleagues invited him to a traditional pub for dinner. James was nervous. British pubs can be different from restaurants, but he remembered our lessons. At the pub, his colleague said, "What would you like to drink?" James: "I'll try a local beer, please." "I'll try a local beer, please. I'll try a local beer, please." Now you repeat. They looked at the menu. So many unusual dishes: bangers and mash, fish and chips, shepherd's pie. His colleague asked, "Need help with the menu?" James: "Yes, what's shepherd's pie?" "Yes, what's shepherd's pie?" "Yes, what's shepherd's pie?" Now you repeat. His colleague explained, and it sounded good. When the bartender came to take orders, James was ready. Bartender: "What can I get you?" James: "I'll have the shepherd's pie, please." "I'll have the shepherd's pie, please. I'll have the shepherd's pie, please." Now you repeat. Bartender: "Anything else?" James: "Is it possible to get a side salad? Is it possible to get a side salad? Is it possible to get a side salad?" Now you repeat. Bartender: "Of course!" The food was delicious, but British portions are big, and James couldn't finish. James asked his colleague, "Is it okay to take this home?" His colleague laughed. "In a pub?" "Not really, but don't worry, just leave it." This was different from America, where taking leftovers is normal. Every country has different customs. At the end, James wanted to pay for his meal. In British pubs, you usually pay when you order, not at the end, but his colleague had already paid. James: "Thank you for dinner. Thank you for dinner. Thank you for dinner." Now you repeat. Colleague: "My pleasure. It was great having you here." James learned that in Britain, when someone says, "I'll get the first round," it means they'll buy drinks for everyone. But later, someone else should offer to buy the next round. It's like taking turns. Recap and review. Wow, we've learned so much today. Let's quickly review the most important points. Basic phrases for ordering. I'd like. Can I have? I'll have. Polite requests. Could I have a few more minutes? Is it possible to? Could you? Asking questions. What do you recommend? Is this spicy? Does this contain? Handling problems politely. Excuse me, but. I'm sorry, but. There seems to be. Cultural tips. Tipping varies by country. Portion sizes differ. Some places you pay first, others at the end. Remember, the key to ordering food confidently is practice. You don't need perfect English. You just need to communicate clearly and politely. Every native speaker will appreciate your effort to speak their language. Call to action. I hope this lesson helps you feel more confident about eating out in English. Remember, making mistakes is normal. Even native speakers sometimes stumble over their words in restaurants. Your homework for this week. Next time you cook dinner at home, pretend you are in a restaurant. Practice ordering your own food out loud. Say, "I'd like the chicken with rice, please," to your refrigerator. It might feel silly, but it really helps. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe to Daily Dose of English. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a lesson. Every week, we make English easier and more fun to learn. Do you have a restaurant story to share? Have you ever had a funny misunderstanding while ordering food? Leave a comment below. I read every single one and I love hearing about your experiences. Next week, we'll learn how to talk about the weather like a British person. It's more complicated than you think, but also really fun. Until then, keep practicing, keep smiling, and remember, every small step forward is progress. You're doing great. This is Tom from Daily Dose of English, saying goodbye for now. Happy eating and happy learning.